Hi everybody, welcome to TIA Now. I'm Clarence Reynolds. Automating a network is no easy task. There are risks in tinkering with things that are working and perils of the unknown, but it must be done. Eric Hanselman is Chief Analyst at 451 Research, and he joins us with 5 critical networking tasks that need to be automated and the techniques and tools to get it done. Eric, thank you for being with us today.
Oh, glad to be here, Clarence.
So let me first start with getting an idea of where you think we are in the network automation process as an industry.
Well, I think one of the challenges, we're here at the Open Networking Summit where the latest and greatest in terms of networking technology is on display. But yet, when we think about enterprise network automation, it's still woefully behind a lot of the capabilities that we've got. There are a lot of challenges and transitions for enterprise, and in many cases, one of the biggest issues can just simply deciding where to start.
So what are the 5 things that need to be automated now? Starting with number 1.
All right, number 1, systems integration. Simply being able to get all the sources of information that we have wrapped around our network infrastructure and be able to get them to dynamically exchange information. Today, a lot of organizations are simply dumping bulk copies, sometimes just text files back and forth. To build a dynamic network, you've got to do much better than that. It's got to be able to be dynamic transfer of these key facts.
Are we at least on the road to dynamic transfer?
We're getting closer,
Okay.
especially when you look at more sophistication around IP address management, a lot of the systems that are available for DNS management, more sophisticated zone management. Those are getting more adoption, but there's still a ways to go.
Okay, number 2.
Number 2, one of the ones that I think in many cases enterprises think they may already have in shape, which is provisioning. The way in which we actually roll out new capacity. Most organizations have got some simple scripting, some of the basics to help them spin up new equipment, things of that nature, but a lot more is required here as well. Primarily in the way in which we integrate all of the provisioning across all of our infrastructure. So being able to take those information sources that they got through systems integration and actually build out comprehensive capabilities to roll out new capacity and then actually assign those resources to those demands that need it. Being able to go get out new segments, spin up ports, all those kinds of things. Those are things that need much more breadth in terms of how you approach them.
That's essential. Number 3.
Compliance and all of the control aspects of the network. And it's something that I call out separately, primarily because we're okay in terms of understanding what the configured state is in the network, but in a lot of cases, we've got to go back and do a whole bunch of homework in order to figure out whether or not it actually meets the requirements of the auditors, of our information security teams, and networking teams can spend a ton of time actually pulling information from all the various bits and corners of the network to be able to get that. Automation can pull all of that together and make it easy to identify and make sure, more importantly, that it's up to date.
And some companies are working on that here at ONS. You're hearing there are companies working.
Absolutely.
To get that done.
Well, if you take a look at one of the more interesting aspects of the data sharing capabilities for a lot of the systems that are out there, the promise of SDN is that you've now got integrated software control for all of this, so that you ought to be able to have a single repository. If you can make it to those steps where you've actually got software control, you've got the information at your fingertips.
All right, number 4.
This is one of those ones that I think in terms of some of the principal capabilities everybody would say they have, which is telemetry. If we sort of think in DevOps terms, telemetry is that fundamental aspect of really knowing moment to moment how things are operating. And networks have been a place in which there's been a lot of monitoring. You've had SNMP, you've had all these other capabilities that gave you rough ideas about where they were, but most of that use today is just to set alarms. We hit 80% utilization. Oh, now we ought to think about something. Automation can actually put the tools in administrators' hands to get them the context that's necessary. So when an alarm trips, why not go out and do captures of protocol profiles, traffic limits, figure out what's going on in that network so that you can actually give your team the tools they need and the information that's necessary to troubleshoot, make more important decisions or more accurate decisions faster.
So telemetry, okay. Number 5.
People. And this is the one that it gets left out more often than not. part of that journey to automation is actually automating your people. And that's a couple different things. You've got to help them skill up, which is just understanding the technologies that are available to them, but also help them develop from a professional standpoint. Raise eyes up off those screens, get people away from CLI wrangling, and all these things that, in networking, we've put a lot of professional focus on. Being able to config T into switches and routers is sort of that badge of honor. We need folks to realize that they've got a lot of smarts, and they need to put that to far better use than just simply pounding keyboards. Thinking about what's possible is far more important.
Really, and that's one of the things we talk about here at TIA Now is the big picture. What are you working on? How does it fit into a big picture, not just your little piece of it?
It's that overall thinking that's really critical. Think about how all these pieces put together. That's a focus area for networking that I think is critically important. You raise what's, I think, one of the most important points about networking strategy. It's integrating with the rest of the environment in the business.
Eric Hanselman of 451 Research, thank you for being with us.
Oh, my pleasure, thanks for having me.
And thank you for joining us. You can see more videos on our website at tianow.org and on our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.